Hey there guys, my name is Kayla and I have an 8-year-old son with autism. In today's video, I'm going to talk about being a single parent and the stress associated with that when raising a child on the autism spectrum. The first thing I want to make clear is that managing your stress and emotion with regards to all your child's needs is definitely a marathon and not a race. We are, 5 years in almost after Shane's diagnosis, and there are still days where I go in my room and I bury my face in the pillow and I scream by myself. It can be incredibly frustrating and stressful, especially if you're on your own and you don't have much help. I read somewhere that we spend on average 2 hours more a day managing and dealing with our children's needs, that we're 3 times more likely to receive phone calls from the schools due to our children's behavior, which obviously interrupts anything else that we may be doing during the day, whether it's for our child or for ourselves. All these things can cause incredible amounts of stress, and it's very, very difficult to manage, especially if you're on your own. You are not alone, and you are not the only parent out there feeling frustrated and angry and stressed due to your child's needs. I mean, I can remember feeling so isolated after Shane's diagnosis, and I felt that way because I felt like nobody understood where I was coming from. I didn't have many friends at the time who had children on the spectrum, and I just felt alone, and I felt embarrassed. And I didn't want to share those feelings with somebody else because I shouldn't be embarrassed because of the way my child is. But I did feel embarrassed. I felt frustrated and embarrassed because I was frustrated and angry at autism. And I felt a little bit like, why me? But I didn't want to do a pity party. And all that was incredibly isolating. Know that there are many, many parents out there going through the exact same thing as you are. Probably the most important thing I did to relieve some stress in our household was to educate myself as much as possible on autism. Doing so allowed me to be able to relate to my son more. When I educated myself on speech therapy, it got him talking more, which made him less frustrated, which resulted in less meltdowns in the house. When I worked more carefully with his OT, or his occupational therapist, I realized very quickly that, okay, he's frustrated because he's 4 years old and still can't put on his own boots. Read as many books as you can. I attended lots of seminars. I remember doing multiple workshops online. I talked to other moms because I needed to know as much as I could about autism in order to better help my son. Once I was able to really help him, I saw him move forward faster. The more you know about autism, the better you can help your child, and that will eliminate a lot of the stress in your house. Don't forget to also educate your family. I was really bad for this in the beginning. I didn't even really talk to my family about autism and Shane's diagnosis, but I really regret that. Educate your family. Let them know why your son or your daughter does what they do when they do it so that they can better help them also, but also so that they can help you and maybe babysit once in a while. Try to figure out a way that you are able to stay cool when your child is having a meltdown or just in a bad place. I know it's not easy, especially as a single parent, because you can't just drop everything and say, I need a spa day, or I need to go for a 5-minute walk for that matter. I've been there. But you have to try to find a way, because I know from my personal experience, when I feel anxious and frustrated because Shane is being anxious and frustrated, it only amplifies the situation and prolongs his behavior. If you can manage your emotions when they're upset, it will significantly help them to reduce that behavior. Even if it's 2 minutes in your bedroom where you're just taking some deep breaths, or meditation works for me, whatever it is, try to find something you can do to keep your cool when your child is not cool. We need a social life outside of our children, probably more than any other parents. You have to be creative about how you do that. It wasn't easy for me. I didn't want to leave Shane with a lot of people, especially when he was younger, because I felt like they didn't understand him and, they may react badly if he had a meltdown or something. And it made me really concerned. So I would basically in the beginning just have a social life when my mom came down to visit. And that wasn't working. I had to be very creative about making sure that I put myself first sometime and that I had an outlet to have fun that had nothing to do with my son or autism. I would actually invite friends over to my place often and have girls' movie nights. I'd plan them after 8 o'clock when Shane was already in bed. I joined an online reading group once. You have to be creative about how you can reach out and make time for yourself. Finding a support group of parents who understood exactly where I was coming from was probably one of the best things I've done so far since my son's diagnosis. I remember feeling very lonely and frustrated and angry at autism and angry at the situation, angry at Shane's dad, everything. And I just needed to know that I wasn't the only person out there. And I worked with my social worker and found a social support group here in my city. And sitting there, talking to these parents, laughing with them, crying with them was the best thing I could have done. You can find these groups on Facebook, on other social media platforms, hopefully in your city, because in person is always better. But if not, do a Zoom meeting. It can literally change your life to know that you're not the only one going through this and that your feelings are completely normal. Take a day off. I know that is not easy when you are a single parent to a child with special needs. There are many appointments and places they need to go and work you need to get done. But the thing is when your body's starting to tell you that you're feeling so much stress, it's probably going to erupt. You have to make your own health a priority. Even if that means taking the day off, your kid has their iPad for 4 hours and you're just watching your favorite show and eating popcorn in the house. You can cancel speech therapy, you can cancel OT. You can do those things because your mental health and your physical health is way more important. If you're not healthy, you won't be able to take them to speech therapy. You won't be at your best to do these exercises with them, to get them talking more. So please put your own mental health and stress levels first. Know that any feelings of anger or frustration at autism, or even your child for that matter, is completely normal. I remember thinking, F autism, why us? I'm so angry. Why does my son not like going to parades? Why can't I take him to a birthday party? Those feelings are completely normal. Every parent feels frustration and anger, and parents of special needs kids, single parents of special needs kids, probably feel that a lot more. It is a lot of work, and those amounts of work and that amount of frustration that we feel, it's normal. What is not okay is to hold that inside. Feel it, process it, let it go. Try to remove any expectation of how things should have gone or should go in the future. It took me a while to really understand what that meant. I actually had to mourn the idea of what I thought being a mother was going to be like, and that took me a while. And let go of any expectations I had for what my son would do, or when he would talk, when he would walk, how many friends he'd have, what interests he'd do. I had to really let that go. But once you do that, you can really embrace your child's diagnosis and who they are as an autistic individual, and begin the journey of what will be instead of what should have been. Letting go of the way things should be has been incredibly validating and liberating for me and my son. You can take your kid to a birthday party and think, it's a birthday party, it should be fun. And then they throw a temper tantrum and throw themselves on the floor and you have to take them home. That can be incredibly stressful and frustrating and have a lot of negative emotions, right? But if you just say to yourself, we're gonna go to the birthday party, we're gonna see how it goes. If he has fun, great. Otherwise, we're gonna go home. Doesn't matter, right? It can be a lot easier to have to pick up your kid and walk out of there when you don't have any expectations associated with how the birthday party should go. This applies to everything, how quickly they should talk. If your child is moving forward, then that means they're developing, and that's the way it should go. The last and probably one of the most important is to find a way to have a respite for yourself. I know it's not easy when you're a single parent, because not everyone's willing to take your child, and if you're a single parent, you don't just have another parent you can leave your kid with. But it is very important for you to have a weekend or a night every so often to yourself. If you have family and friends that are willing to do that, take them up on the offer. Educate them on your child and how they think and how they work, the things they like. Send them with the iPad and their favorite movie, and set them up for success so that they can have a good night with your best friend or one of your cousins or a sibling of yours, whatever it may be. You can also look for respites in your area that are operated by different organizations that actually have staff who are well educated on how to work with special needs children. Sometimes these things are free depending on where you live. Sometimes they do charge quite a bit of money, but the thing is no matter what, it's necessary. Find it. If you've got to save for 4 months to make this happen for yourself, you deserve the weekend. There are also organizations that will help parents fund these sort of weekends away for yourself, but you just have to research it. Do a Google search in your area and see what's available. Talk to your social worker. Find a way to get some time to yourself. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. I post videos every Monday and Wednesday, so if you're interested, please subscribe to see what's coming next.